God bless everyone. Judy here. I just have a quick prophecy that the Lord wants to speak through me to tell the world. Great fear is already here, and it's coming so great that people's hearts will fail. And the bride is going home. We will be home, but we could be at the tail end of these greater birth pangs, and even just the wars and rumors of wars and all the fears of lack of supply and all of that. God told me he's using this fear people to him. Unfortunately, his love doesn't work. So then he has to do the other side of his love, which is his discipline, which is fear. And he's still judging the church. We are still in the greater birth pangs. We're not here for the fear that's going to be in the tribulation church. We are not here, but the fear and the tribulation, there's nothing that you've experienced that you can even talk about that will equal it. But even on the earth right now, God told me that people will just start to drop dead from fear and stress that aren't putting their trust in him. And he said, warn them, Judy, warn them before it's too late to start developing relationship with me now. So that when these things, if you see some of these things in the greater birth pangs, that you don't have a heart attack for fear. Because I mean, if I didn't have my trust in the Lord, I would be afraid right now. And my fear that comes upon me every now and then leads me into greater faith because I work it out with the Lord. Fear is a normal human reaction to trouble. And so when the bride and those that are following Christ to their best of their ability, when we encounter fear over whatever it is, what our response is, okay, don't pretend like you don't have it. Be honest about it and then share it with the Lord and then get under his blood and say, I choose to trust you and not worry, because worry is a sin. And that's what fear leads to. It leads to worry. So if you start to feel fear, God's not mad at you. That's normal. It's when you walk in the worry of the fear. That's when you take a hold of it and you say, God, I'm afraid of this, but I put my trust in you and I give it to you. I always picture myself handing him like a suitcase of my fear and my worries and my concerns. And I hand it, and then I don't take that suitcase back. And I remind myself, oh, I gave it to him. I put my trust in him. And another way that you can worship the Lord is through not worrying. I mean, some people want to sing a song, but God told me one day years ago that my song really didn't mean much to him. But one of the ways that I could worship him, and he liked my singing and my worship that I used to do every morning. But he said, as soon as I got out of my prayer closet into the real world, I was back into worry. And he said, so why don't you worship me all day today by not worrying? And that was something he told me when my son was like 3 years old. And it really helped me. So, one way, church, that you can worship the Lord in these greater birth pangs is through not worrying. That's an act of worship. Not worrying is an act of worship. And so just don't worry. And it's possible. It's possible by using self control in your brain and saying no and quoting the scriptures. I'm going to put my trust in the Lord. But God just told me to get out this message that he is using this fear. So when you see people dropping dead because of stress and fear, that it's already happening right now, but the birth pangs before we go home, they're just going to kick off and be a little bit bigger, and then we're out. But just God wants you safe and snug in the shelter of his arms. So you need to start developing that now so that it doesn't catch you off guard. And that's a word of the Lord for you today. God bless you. Bye-bye.